I'd like to thank everybody for attending. This is a thrilling day for our department, our campus, and our community, as we're so excited and thrilled to introduce you to the new leader of our men's basketball program. To start off today, we're going to have our president, Catherine Rowe, lead off. Thank you.
Good morning, welcome. It is a really exciting day for William & Mary Athletics as we launch the next chapter of our men's basketball program. In recent weeks, some have asked, how can we expect more in William & Mary's basketball next chapter than the last chapter, which was our most successful in recent decades and rightfully respected as such? Like the university as a whole, William & Mary Athletics is striving to advance its distinctive excellence in a rapidly changing environment. The William & Mary way remains just that, and I think about the ampersand in our name, which joins multiple things. We are committed to ensuring that our student athletes flourish academically and athletically and personally as human beings. Do so at this university because everything we do strives for excellence in supporting them to flourish. We embrace the challenge both of competing the William & Mary way and winning championships the William & Mary way, with that ampersand always in our mind. So we look forward to advancing the William & Way in pursuit of athletics' vision to boldly pursue excellence, to find our next coach with that in mind. Director Samantha Hughey successfully undertook a comprehensive and inclusive search. So thanks, Samantha. Thanks to the advisory group, many of whom are here today, who assisted in finding the right person for the job. Welcome to Coach Fischer and his family. Welcome to you all. We are thrilled to embrace you as part of the William & Mary community. I'm now going to invite Samantha Hughey to introduce Coach Fischer more fully.
Good morning. Thank you so much, President Rowe, for not only your presence here today, but for your passionate support of Tribe Athletics. Your partnership is instrumental as we raise the bar to pursue excellence. I want to welcome Dane, Chelsea, their children Cameron and Bennett, Dane's mother Chris, and his father Tim to the Tribe. Just 8 days ago, we gathered in this arena on a difficult day. And I would, remembering the life of Nate Evans, and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our collective grief. I want to thank all of you who have supported this community and this campus during these difficult days. Before I introduce our new coach, just let me thank everyone who shared their thoughts throughout the process: fans, alum, faculty, former players and coaches, but especially Mark Bodie, Tony Traver, Taylor Mokris, Daniel Dixon, and Paul Rowley, who tirelessly served as an advisory group to me, taking time away from their personal, professional, and educational pursuits, providing great insight and knowledge. They are the true guardians of Tribe basketball, and it has been an honor to work beside them to bring our new coach to Williamsburg. Finding a coach who embodies all that we value at William & Mary and also understands what it takes to win at the highest level was a tall order. It was important to find a coach who understands that excellence is not only a goal, but a value, that winning the right way is what matters, that championships can be attained without compromising or jeopardizing academics, integrity, or sportsmanship. A coach that would build on the success of the coaches that came before, while leading the program to a higher level of achievement. I am grateful to all of our previous coaches, but in particular to Tony Shaver, who led this program for 16 years with dignity and class. At the beginning of our search, I met with our student athletes and asked them what they wanted and needed in their next coach. They articulated a need for a coach who can develop strong relationships with his players away from basketball. And I witnessed this just last evening as Coach Fischer and his family had dinner with our team. They asked for a coach who is a strong communicator both on and off the floor, who is a leader, who has the ability to develop players to their highest potential, all while embracing his role as an educator and mentor. Oh, and they asked for a coach who would lead them to a championship and beyond. The advisory group and I sought a leader who would attract and develop student athletes of character, who excel in the classroom, who will compete for and win championships, and who will serve as great ambassadors of William & Mary. The first time I met Dane was during this process, and it quickly became evident that he was exactly who we needed. Dane is a competitor. He understands what is required to win at a highly selective academic institution and embraces all that makes William & Mary special. Throughout the process, Dane clearly articulated his belief that his role is to teach, mentor, and inspire the young men in his charge while establishing a level of excellence befitting a Division I institution. He is a coach who wants to do all that he can to see his student athletes realize their dreams, including, but not only, participating in an NCAA tournament. Dane embodies what is required of a successful coach today: humble, empathetic, and courageous leadership. Now, if you'll let me have a little bit of history. On April 23, 1910, Theodore Roosevelt delivered what would become one of the most widely quoted speeches of his career. An inspirational and impassioned message known as the man in the arena. I mean, LeBron's latest shoes even reference the speech. Before he delivered the words that so many of us know, Roosevelt challenged the cynics of the time who looked down on those who were trying to make the world a better place. He said, quote, "The poorest way to face life is to face it with a sneer, a cynical habit of thought and speech, a readiness to criticize work which the critic himself never tries to perform. For as we know, it is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the ones who are actually in the arena, who spend themselves in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if they fail, at least they fail while daring greatly. Welcome to the arena, Coach." It is an honor and a pleasure to introduce the 31st head men's basketball coach of William & Mary, Dane Fischer. President Rowe, will you come up here with us for a moment, please?
Thank you. My favorite college basketball player of all time is actually a William & Mary graduate. And the story goes like this. It's about 8 years ago. I was assistant at Bucknell, and I went down to an open gym to watch a young man play in junior year, the fall of his junior year. And as the open gym winds down, the girls' team is coming in, the boys' team is walking out. I thanked the boys' coach. I said hi to the girls' coach, and was on my way. And 5 years later, my wife and I have our first child. She's 4 days old, and my wife's like, "We got to get out of the house and go do something." So we go to dinner, and we're sitting there at dinner, and we look up at the TV, and William & Mary is playing Duke. And we just kind of share a little moment, because up on the screen playing for William & Mary is Jack Whitman. And Jack Whitman is the guy that I went to see at that open gym, and my wife is the girls' basketball coach that I met walking out the gym that day. So we thought at that moment that the whole thing had come full circle, but this experience right here is really taking it to a whole nother level. I want to thank President Rowe, Samantha Hughey for this incredible opportunity, the members of the advisory group that I got to meet with along the way. I am really, truly honored and excited to be here as the next head basketball coach at William & Mary. Some people I want to thank before I get into talking about the program. My parents, first of all, who, to no surprise to people that know them, flew halfway across the country to be here for this. All the love and support you guys have given me through the year and the encouragement along this journey. I certainly can't thank you guys enough for that, so thanks for being here today. I have an older sister and younger sister who couldn't be here, but I know that they're watching. I want to make sure to thank them as well. I want to thank my college coaches. The head coach I played for is Jim Mullins, and the assistant coach Sherry Dobbs. They both gave me the opportunity to be a student athlete at the college level, which I really, really enjoyed. But beyond that, they really helped me in this profession. They helped me get into coaching. They've mentored me all the way through, and I certainly couldn't be here without them today. You don't get to a place like this, an opportunity like this, without being around great coaches, great administrators, and great players. And I've been really, really fortunate, the places I've been, to have been around unbelievable people at every stop of the way. And one person I want to recognize in particular is Dave Paulson, who's the head coach at George Mason. He gave me my first opportunity to get into coaching as an assistant at Williams College back in the day. And we just spent the last 11 years together at Bucknell and at George Mason together. And I need to thank him for too many things that we have time for today, but most importantly for giving me the blueprint for how to run a successful program and how to do it at a highly selective academic institution like a William & Mary, but also for the opportunity for me to grow as a coach. He gave me a ton of responsibility. Every year kind of implored me to do more and more, and I think one of the best things he ever said to me was when I went to work for him at Bucknell. He said, "I need you to think like a head coach and act like an assistant." And there's probably a few times that, I told that line about that with him, but I'm really thankful that he took the time to do that for me. Last, I want to thank my immediate family here. My son Bennett, 8 months old, there he is, has zero concern for what I'm doing right now. My daughter Cameron, 2.5, who's learned how to say "Go Tribe," and here we go. And she's behaving well, so I'm going to keep this as short as I can. And then, last but not least, my wife. This is why you told me not to look at family, right? Yeah. I can't put into words how much you mean to me, the support you've given, the wife you are, the mother you are, the friend you are. And this coaching journey has been a blast all the way through, but it's been way more fun since you've joined, so thank you so much. I developed a love for basketball at a really young age. It just was a sport that I loved, whether it was playing out in the driveway or on a youth team or watching games, going to games, talking about it. I always had a passion for it. And when I graduated from Ithaca College, I made a big mistake because I decided that I should go into the world of business because I thought it was more practical as opposed to chase a dream of coaching in college basketball. And I worked for about 10 months, and it was right around the time of March Madness that I said, I want to get into coaching. I want to give this a shot. I think this is what I'm supposed to do. So I quit my job, started my coaching journey, and haven't looked back since. Samantha mentioned a little bit about my coaching philosophy, and to me, it's about three things. It's about teaching, it's about mentoring, and it's about inspiring. I think it's important for us to remember as coaches, the first thing we are is educators, and we're part of the educational mission of an institution. And there's a lot of things you get to teach as a coach that pertain to basketball, but there's way more you get to teach in terms of principles and values that you can apply to all different areas of your life. As a mentor, and certainly when you talk about a young group like this, I think college is one of the most unique times in everyone's life. You go through so many changes, you meet people from different backgrounds, you're exposed to so many new things, and as a student athlete, you experience some serious highs and some serious lows. And to be someone that can help guys through those transitions, help them through the tough times, and help them see that they're going to come out stronger on the other end is something that I really enjoy about this. And then when it comes to inspiring, I think good coaches see their players for who they are, and I think great coaches see them for who they can become. And one of the big goals that I'm going to have as a coach here is that every student athlete that comes through our program is a better player and a person than they ever thought they could be on their own. In terms of William & Mary basketball, I think it's important to look at three things. I think it's important to look at where we are now, where we want to go, and how we want to get there. When I think about where we are now, the first thought that I have are all of the people that have been here before us. The alumni, the coaches, the people on campus, the administrators, the supporters in this community. There are so many people that have helped lay the foundation for where we are today, and I think it's really important that we always remember that and honor that, because the reality of it is none of us would be here today if it weren't for the people that came before us. I, in particular, want to acknowledge Coach Shaver and his staff and the work that he did here. It's been very apparent to me through talking with alumni, through meeting with the advisory group, what kind of an impact he had in this program, in this community. And my goal is to build upon the success that's been here. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that Coach Shaver will always, always be a part of our program. So where do we want to go? To me, there's three things that I want our program to really focus on. And number one is academic excellence. When I meet with our guys individually today, one of the first things I'm going to talk to them about is where they're at with their academics and what their goals are. And to me, it's not about what your GPA is and getting a degree. It's far more than that. It's your approach to learning. It's your approach to being put into challenging situations and having your ideas tested and embracing a group of diverse people that can help you really learn and grow. And part of being a student is learning how to learn and how to carry that with you throughout your life. So that's something that we're going to be really big on. Second thing is our involvement in the campus and the community. We're really fortunate because this is a high-profile sport, and we have a lot of people that care about this and want to support us. But with that comes responsibility, and we owe it to the people that support this program and care about it, that we do our part to be entrenched in the fabric of this campus and in this community, and that's something that we're going to strive to do every day. And the third thing is our on-court performance. This program is in a really good spot, and I want to take it to a great spot. And the way we're going to do that is by focusing on improvement every day, bettering ourselves, and being as good as we can possibly be. And if we focus on that process of getting better, we're going to get the results that we want to have. How do we get there? Okay, how do we get to what we're talking about? Okay, number one is we've got to have great people. I spent yesterday meeting with these guys for the first time, and then spent some time with them, with my family, and I'm very convinced now, more than ever, that there are the right people in this program right now. And once we add a few more with staffing, we're going to get the right people here. I think the second way we do it is through our culture. And I'm a big believer that you got to fight for your culture every day. And your core values have to be present in every single thing you do, academics, socially, on the basketball court. And we will enforce and hold everybody accountable to those standards every single day. And then the last thing that we need is we need collective buy-in. And everybody's got to be 2 feet in. And I will make a point to always talk about our program. And when I say our program, I don't mean the coaches and the players. I mean everybody. I mean the administration. I mean the people on campus. I mean the people in this community, our alumni, everybody that's a part of this. This is our program. And we all have to work together to achieve the goals that we want to. And I'm a big believer if we have the right people, the right culture, and buy-in from everyone, that there's no reason that this program is not going to hang a banner in here and go to its first NCAA tournament. Again, thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I can't put into words how excited I am to be here, how much my family and I are looking forward to getting to know as many people as we can. I'm really looking forward to just doing my small part to help William & Mary continue to strive for excellence. So, thank you.
Okay, now we're going to open it up for questions from the media.
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal of staffing is certainly to put together as good a staff as we can. And when I think about staffing, the values I think about are guys that can teach, guys that can mentor, and guys that can inspire. So I'm going to find guys that can do that. There are a few guys that I have in mind that I've had some conversations with. I did find out very quickly that I have a lot more friends in coaching than I realized. So we're going to go through a thorough process to make sure we have the right guys in place that can adhere to those values. In terms of style of play, I talked a little bit to the guys yesterday about this. First thing is I want to play a style that's fun for our fans and fun for our players to play. To me, I want to be a team that plays hard, that plays together, and competes with discipline. I'd like to see us have a more of a defensive mindset than we've had recently. I think that's a real way to bond your team and bring them together. And I think you need to have the ability to play on both sides of the ball well, especially if you're going to talk about making a run in March. Yep.
Coach, Brian Smith with 13 News Now in Norfolk. Two questions. One, you mentioned, I guess, part of your coaching philosophy. How were you able to win over players in terms of that coaching philosophy? And two, what was the meeting like in terms of talking with them and trying to come together as a team?
Yeah. So my goal with winning over the players was to bring my daughter last night and have her run around and say go try, but she did her part. So, but no, with these guys, my biggest thing is building a relationship. Okay, our first core value that we have is going to be trust, and that's really, really important, because if they don't trust me and I can't trust them, then the whole thing doesn't work. So I'm going to start meeting with them today individually, which I think is really important, so I can really get a chance to know these guys, where they're from, why do they choose William & Mary, who's important in their lives, all of those things. So I think that's the biggest first step to it. In terms of the meeting yesterday, I think it went well. Again, it was just an introductory. We just kind of talked about our core values, how we want to proceed from here, and the big thing was the relationship piece, and just making sure that we start to establish that, which is what we're going to start to work on here as soon as we can.
What was your first out of college, and then how did you subsequently get into coaching and connecting with Coach Paulson?
Yeah, good question. So my first job out of college was I worked for Edward Jones Investments as a financial advisor. So I liked it, but it wasn't a passion, and I found that out pretty quickly. And the defining moment for me was when I was at the regional meeting, and it was the first round of the NCAA tournament, and I kept leaving the meeting to walk into the little lobby bar area to check the score. So that was the time I was like, all right, you got to do something about this. My connection with Coach Paulson was actually made through my college coaches. So the year after I had graduated from Ithaca, Ithaca played at Williams College, which was where Coach Paulson was. So there was a little connection there, and they called him saying that they had a guy that was interested in getting into the business, and I was fortunate enough that he had a couple spots open, and we made it work. So that was it.
Coach in the back, Lane Casadante from CBS 6 in Richmond. What is it about you as a coach in this point in your career that tells you are ready for this challenge?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think the number one thing would be the experience I've had and the opportunity that I've been given really from Dave Paulson to expand as a coach. And one of the things that people talk about is the biggest change from being an assistant to a head coach is it's a totally different mindset. And when Coach talked to me about, hey, you gotta think like a head coach, I've been able to do that now for the past 11 years and trying to help him with that. So I think the experience I've had certainly has gotten me there. The other part of the experience piece would be working at Bucknell University in particular, because as I talked about going through this process, this isn't just about being a head coach, it's about being the head coach at William & Mary. And I think that this is a different place than a lot of other places because of the academic excellence and because of the rigors that these guys have to go through. It's a little bit of a different blueprint than it is at some other places. So I feel like that's probably those are probably the two most important things that have prepared me for this.
Hey, Dane, it's Dave Johnson from the Daily Press here. How you doing? You mentioned meeting with the players. It's only been brief so far, of course, but could you address the challenge of keeping this core together with several of them having indicated they might move on?
Yeah, that's absolutely. So, as I mentioned in the opening remarks, and I said this to the guys yesterday, I said, I think the people are here right now. And I told these guys that, a lot of times when a new coach comes, there's a need for an overhaul and a facelift. And, you say you got to get better players and you got to get the culture, no one's any good, and that is definitely not the case here. Like, these guys are really good players. We played against them the last 2 years, so I know that. And in terms of, the movement forward from here, I think is that relationship piece that we're talking about. And I think that today and tomorrow, when we do get a chance to sit down and learn about each other, I'm really confident that the reason these guys chose to come to William & Mary, I think a lot of those reasons are still here. The great academics, the opportunity to play at a high level, and certainly the opportunity to put a banner up here for the first time. And I think that these guys all believe in that. I think that they believe in the mission that we have and the way we're going to do things. And as this time moves forward, I'm very confident that the guys that are sitting over here that want to be a part of that are still going to be a part of it.
Good morning. My name is Julia Marsigliano. I'm with WI Daily. So in regards to the process, did you reach out to Samantha Hugh, or did she contact you for this coaching position?
Yeah, so I'm gonna defer any questions of the process to Samantha, so she can handle that stuff. What I can say about it is we had an unbelievable first conversation, and what I loved about Samantha's vision was that she wants to win at a high level here, but she doesn't want to compromise the academic success and the integrity of that and the bond with the campus and the community. The more I got to know people as I moved through the process, the more people I met, the more and more I was excited about it, the more I felt like this was a great fit. And at the end of the day, when I got the call offering me the job, can't quite explain the emotions on that.
Coach Scott Cash with 13 News Now out of Norfolk. Are you already kind of feeling the weight of this school never being to the NCAA? Are you already feeling that? Can I be the first one to ask that question?
Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard it, no. I'm not, because I think the blueprint to get there is to not focus on any kind of weight on your shoulders. The blueprint to getting there is to focus on how do we get better, how do we worry about the things we can control, and how do we be as good as we possibly can. And if we focus on those things, those positive results are probably going to follow. All right, barring some injuries and things that can happen. But one thing I will say about that is that we're not going to shy away from it. Okay, I'm fully aware what people want here. People want to go to the NCAA tournament. When I met with President Rowe, I remember her telling me, she said, I just want to be able to write William & Mary in that big bracket, and I know that she's not the only one that feels that way. So it's certainly going to be something that we're going to strive for, and I believe we're going to do it here without a doubt. But I think the goal, the way you get there, is by focusing on the things that help you have success.
Dane, did you overlap with Zach Spicer or Spiker at Ithaca? And if so, did you talk to him about the conference and this job in particular?
Yeah, so Zach Spiker and we did overlap. We went to school together at Ithaca. He was a senior when I was a sophomore, and he was really instrumental in helping me get into coaching. So he's a close friend of mine. We've kept in touch. He called me. He was one of the few phone calls that I was able to get to since this has happened. But yeah, and you know, we talked. We didn't talk a ton about this process or this league going into it. Just as a respect for the process we were going through. But you know, he was at Army when I was at Bucknell. He's as close a friend as I have in coaching, and I'm excited to compete against him.
Julia Marsigliano with WI Daily again.
Hey, Julie.
Hi. So do you plan on speaking with Tony Shaver going forward?
That's a good question. So I know Tony a little bit. I've met him just through coaching circles, and you know, when I was at Bucknell and even at George Mason, there were always some crossover in terms of kids you'd recruit, and you just kind of become, you know, acquaintances or friends with people when you do that. So as I mentioned in my opening remarks, Coach Shaver is going to be a part of this program, and I would love for him to feel that, and I'd love for him to know that he's got an open door to talk with us and be a part of this, but I also want to be respectful of where he might be at right now.
Is there anything else? Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's the end of our official program right now. And as I said earlier, Samantha Hughey, We Mary's Director of Athletics, will be available over here for interviews in a short moment. So thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you very soon.